Welcome back to my Instagram live here at Earle Wellbeing. How is everybody? Did you have a really wonderful bank holiday weekend? Rested, bit of outdoor activity maybe? I had two really fun, very different musical events. So if you follow me on Earle Me, you will have seen a little bit behind the scenes. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. I put up little clips of various different musical experiences. What did you all do? Let me know. I'd love to hear. Anything special? Do share, pop it in the comments. Well, today we are going to be having a deep dive into cutting edge skincare technology because I'm going to be joined by a biochemist and geneticist to really drill down into what happens to our skin as we age and the new science behind ingredients that you may not have heard of. So stay tuned. Possibly pen and paper? Yeah, maybe. Anyway, we're going to be talking specifically about the fab new product from Studio 10. There is, of course, a 20% Liz Loves discount, so you can go and grab that later if what you hear you like the sound of. And we're going to be taking questions about skincare, so put them in the comments below if you would like to. I am going to join with Lainey, if I can, to start with, because she will be a moderator here from Earle Wellbeing. So if you have questions about Earle Wellbeing website, magazine, podcast, newsletter, any of that, then Lainey will be able to hop on and answer those. But yes, my gosh, you've all been busy, haven't you? Wow, what some lovely things. And it's sunny where you are too, in the south of England. Yeah, I'm back in the West Country. It is fairly sunny. Wasn't so sunny. I was in my pond at about 7 o'clock this morning. You might have seen a picture of that too. Sharing the love, getting out, looking up at the sun. Well, sun behind the clouds. Even if the sun is behind the clouds, you know, it's still worth getting out and looking up and getting a little bit cold. Okay, you don't have to dip in a pond. You don't have to go for a wild swim. If those of you who live by the sea, I know that you're in the sea first thing. Just a cold shower, seriously, 60 seconds if you can. And it just gives you that little dopamine hit about an hour or so later. Really lifts the mood, if you need to lift, that is. Anyway, let us get going and see if we can get joined by Dr. Barbara Goisens. Now, she is the person, the genius, really, a bioengineer specialising in genetics and also medical molecular biotechnology. Okay, yeah, bit of a mouthful, but let's see if she can join us in the house. She's not there just yet, but I am ready and waiting. So Studio 10, great brand, lovely British brand. I've done lots of collaborations with Grace, the founder, fab female founder. The reason I love this brand is that the products are superb. It's a very small edited range, so you don't get confused by the choice. You know, you don't land on the website and think, oh my gosh, there's 100 different colours to choose from, you know, 6 different mascaras. She's got one mascara, she's got one eyeliner, she's got one plumping blush, which I've actually got on at the moment. This actually is something that I brought with me to Italy and I have brought back because I've been using it to prolong the glow. I have to say this glow on my face is not entirely natural. So this is their bronzing powder, which I really love. And it's actually got two things in the compact. You've got this radiance powder here, which is a little bit of a highlighter. And here you've got the bronzing powder. And what I like about it is it's just not orange. I can pop a little bit more on, actually, just to sort of pump up the glow and just put a little bit of colour back. So if you've been aware you've got some colour, or you haven't been away and you'd like some colour, then I can highly recommend that. That is on their website and it still gets the Liz Loves. Everything gets the 20% off. So let me try again. Dr. Barbara, are you in the house? Let us see. Studio 10 makeup. Because it's going to be a bit of a deep dive into all different kinds of ingredients. You know, some of the ones we've talked about here before, obviously we've talked about things like hyaluronic acid, we've talked about retinol, we've talked about vitamin C. Hello,
Hi.
you're with us. How are
Hello.
you?
I'm good. Do you hear me well?
Very, very well,
Great.
thank you. Where are you talking to us from?
I'm dialing in from Belgium.
Are you?
Yeah.
Okay. And tell us a little bit about your background, because my gosh, your CV reads like some sort of stupendous, well, I mean, you are stupendous, but, you know, some sort of extraordinary scientist working in the world of genetics and molecular biology. What's your background and what led you to actually work with skincare?
So yes, I started off as a bioengineer, studied genetics, after which I was very much interested in the medical fields, medical biotechnology, tissue engineering, etc.
Okay.
So I actually did a master after that, and it was through this master that I talked to a professor who said, I might have a very interesting project for you. It's on dermatology, and it's about formulating a kind of vector, which means a formulation that could deliver high molecular weight, so big molecules into the skin. So it would be a joint project between dermatology and pharmacy. Would you like that? So I said yes. And then everything started to fall into pieces, because I love genetics, I love skin and skincare. And then I thought maybe this could be my future. So it took me a long time. I studied for many years at university. But yeah, that's how I ended up in the skincare world, actually, through my
Fascinating. Interesting that you talk about molecular size and molecular weight. And obviously I had a past life working in skincare, so I'm aware of different types of ingredients and choosing the right ones that will work with the skin. Because, you know, I've always been told that a lot of these molecules that we're using, things like collagen, for example, the molecules are so big that there's no way they can do anything but sit on the skin. Is that the case, or are we now in a world where we can actually get things into the skin?
We can fool the skin a little bit, and it really depends on how you design those vectors. So the vectors are carrier molecules that could lead certain molecules into the skin. Of course, there are a lot of factors that are dependent on it, like the size. Of course, you cannot get a full collagen strain into the skin, that's for sure not, but you can break it up into peptides, and peptides can communicate to your cells, and these can then stimulate collagen growth. So size is important, but also the charge is important, like is it negatively charged, positively charged, also how it interacts with the lipids of your skin. So it all depends on how you engineer this carrier molecule where you put everything in to help communicate with your skin, if that makes sense, whether it's true or not. So that was the subject of my thesis, basically designing these vectors that allow the penetration of high molecular weight molecules into the skin. And one way of doing that is using liposomes, for example. You might have heard of those. Yeah,
absolutely. And I understand liposomes to be little microscopic, almost like bubbles, that you can put ingredients into that are so tiny that the little bubbles become carriers into the skin, and then they can release their cargo, if you like.
Correct.
And that does work, does it? That's an absolute scientific fact that liposomes work in skincare.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, it depends on how you formulate them, but mostly they do.
They do. Okay.
I cannot speak in general. Sometimes it's used as a marketing claim, maybe, but when I design them, yes, they do.
Okay. Good. I'm glad that we got your reassurance there. So talk to us a little bit about the genetics of skin. Obviously we're all different genetically, but are there fundamental components of our skin genetically that are the same, so that skincare will work for all of us in the same way?
Well, yeah, there are a few of them, which is basically as we age, certain processes start to diminish. So it works less and less. That's unfortunately why we see that wrinkles start appearing. So there is a general approach that will work for everybody, because you need to stimulate your collagen production, for example. You need to protect your skin from damaging UV light and pollution. There are certain things that work for everybody. But if we then question, why is my skin aging in a faster way than my friend's skin, although we have the same lifestyle, we both live in London, we both live very healthy, why is that? That is the genetic component. And then you can actually pinpoint a little bit better by understanding your genes. You can adapt certain formulation to go for a much more targeted approach.
So I've been researching quite a bit about gene expression, and I know a lot of my audience here will know that I talk about, you know, genetic nutrigenomics, for example, where you can see where your variances are, your little genetic SNPs, and what nutrients you're absorbing, whether you're able to produce glutathione, or if you have a, you know, gene expression that prevents that, for example. Can we do similar tests with the skin, or should we just really go for a very well formulated all-round product that is likely to deliver good results?
Well, to answer your first question, definitely you can do a genetic test and then see where your skin needs more of. Like if you don't, for example, produce enough of a certain ceramide because of a genetic mutation, you might need to search for this type of ceramide to put in your cream, or glutathione, like you just said. It could be, but it depends on what you want, and both go very well hand in hand. You might have your daily product that you know has everything in one, that works very well. But then, you might add it with extra night products that are very much tailored to your specific genetic needs.
So you talk about putting everything in one, and I know that Hydra Fusion, which you've worked with Grace on creating, you actually developed this using your technology, which sounds absolutely astonishing. This is a 5-in-1 product, which has so many benefits. Do you want to talk us through some of the unusual ingredients and the way that you formulated this? Because it sounds like it's a bit of a kind of genetically engineered masterpiece. And I talk about genetic engineering in the most positive sense here.
Yeah, absolutely. So yes, Grace approached me with this challenging project, asking me, I want something that is so much more than a daily moisturizer. And I want at the same time something that protects your skin and is so much more than just an SPF, and just so much more than a primer. So ideally she had something that did prime and that did protect and nourish and restore. And so it became a 5-in-1, and it was a process of, I think, around 18 months, maybe a little bit longer, where she did challenge me on using the best ingredients for protecting the skin. Because in the end, and it's true what she said, yeah, in the end, it's all about protecting your skin from UV damage, which is true. So you can read a lot from your DNA, but in the end, you still need to protect your skin as well. So we decided to choose UV filters that are best for skin, best for the environment. So we stuck to mineral filter, which is very, very challenging to formulate.
I know.
People who have done it, they know, because it often gives this white casting, and you just apply the product, you don't feel any of that, do you?
No. Well, you can see, I mean, this is, I've just put some on the back of my hand, and it's like a very, very light serum. My skin has taken on a glow immediately. It's got a really fresh, light scent, not too overwhelming. It's evened out skin tone, and my skin feels unbelievably soft just from first applying it. And I can see from the box that it's got an SPF 30, which is pretty intense, especially for something that's so sheer. You know, usually if you apply an SPF 30, you can really feel it, and it's quite chalky, especially if it's mineral.
Exactly. So this fusion, Hydra Fusion, is a fusion between this serum, and it has the SPF, and it is a daily moisturizer. So we put a lot of these moisturizing elements in there through squalene and squalane, which is basically...
I love squalane.
Yeah.
So tell everybody what squalane is if somebody doesn't know.
Sorry, I didn't understand.
Sorry, tell everybody what squalane is for those who don't know.
So it's a lipid that the skin makes itself. So I'm very much a believer of, if you put something in your skincare products that the skin normally makes by itself, it will have a better, as we call it, compatibility.
Right.
So the skin will recognize it better, and you will have much better effects. So squalene, but also hyaluronic acid is something that our skin, a lot of people don't know that, but makes itself. It's a humectant, so it's a molecule that can hold water and moisture up to 1,000 times its own weight. So what we did is we used 4 different sizes.
4 different sizes. Now, honestly, you've really upped the game. I know of products, and I've talked about them before. There's a Beauty Pie moisturizer that I love, which is 3 different molecular weights. And I thought that was pretty good. You've actually got 4 different forms of hyaluronic acid. So how do they break down then? What's the difference between the 4?
It's the size, basically. And the bigger the size, the more it stays on the surface. It makes sense, right? So the smaller the hyaluronic acid, the deeper it goes into the skin layers. So you have 3 different skin layers. So basically what we say is you have a triple layer moisturization effect, which kind of forms like a mesh inside the skin. So because it's in all the layers, it has a good hydration in all these layers. And then on top of the skin, you still have these biggest molecules that don't penetrate, but make a nice it gives a supple, so is that a good word? Supple?
Yeah, supple.
Effect to the skin.
I have noticed that because my skin is actually naturally very dry.
Yeah.
You know, in the past I was eczema prone, and obviously getting older, I'm losing collagen. You know, my skin is becoming drier. I'm very aware of that. And I put this on in the morning, and my skin is still looking soft and kind of dewy even in the evening, and that kind of surprised me. I thought, gosh, what have you put in here that makes it so long lasting? So would that be the 4 different types of collagen?
And also the phospholipids we put in there as well.
Okay, so tell us what's a phospholipid.
Phospholipids are actually, that's what your membranes consist of. So it has a long fatty chain and and it has a little head that loves water, and then a fatty chain that loves the fat. And it positions itself in such a way that it feels more comfortable, and that gives this smooth feeling. And it's also, it's where your cells are consist of. So again, I might be repeating myself, but I'm very much fond of using those things that come from your own skin and be very mimicking to what your skin already makes, because that will have the best effects.
So a lot of these ingredients then are things that we are naturally producing, these phospholipids, the hyaluronic acid, the collagen. Are you actually using collagen peptides?
Ah, voilà. We think alike. Yes, peptides as well.
Okay. What about any of the nutrients? Do they feature in this at all? Do you have any kind of vitamin component?
We used astaxanthin.
Astaxanthin, I love that.
Yep, that was a specific request from Grace.
Was it? Oh, she's very smart. It's such a buzzword, astaxanthin. I actually take it with my collagen, but it's unusual to find it in a treatment product.
If you take it orally and then supplement it also topically on your skin, it's great. It's very powerful because it comes from algae, right? It's produced by algae who have been known to survive in very harsh conditions for the past billion years. So that they produce it to protect themselves. So it helps to scavenge the right words? Free radicals. So it helps to protect you from what we call in science oxidative stress. And basically every cell in your body goes through stress from the moment you get up, even though if you don't feel stressed, you go through stress. And these molecules help to protect your cells from being damaged by these free radicals. So that's what astaxanthin does. And we also have ferulic acid in there as very powerful.
Acid.
Yeah.
And that, so what is ferulic acid? That's different from folic acid, which is a B vitamin.
Yes, absolutely. Ferulic acid is also a very powerful antioxidant. It's like in the power of, let's say, vitamin C. It's something like that. It's often it's a little bit more frequently used, I would say, but astaxanthin is something that is not so much used because it's also it's not the cheapest component to work with, to be honest, and it's very fragile, so you have to know how to formulate it. So
and ferulic acid, would that have a similar property to vitamin C? I mean, vitamin C is sometimes used for brightening, for example. Pigmentation. You're going to get the same benefits. So when we say it's a 5-in-1, what are the 5 things that this kind of miracle worker is doing?
So it nourishes. We talked about that by adding these hyaluronic acids. It protects. So I talked about the zinc oxide. Maybe I didn't talk about zinc oxide specifically, but I mentioned the mineral filters that we use, non-nano.
So that is a broad spectrum. You're covering UVA, UVB.
Exactly. Together with the astaxanthin and ferulic acid as antioxidants. They go, that is protection of the skin. Then we have restoring the skin by using the peptides. We have priming the skin to prepare for maybe makeup you want to use afterwards, and we do that by using silica and aluminium starch succinate to actually smoothen the skin surface that absorbs a bit of excess of sebum, right? That it's not shiny. And then the last one is prime perfecting.
Okay. Yep, that's what it says here. Nourishes, primes, perfects, protects, and restores. So I mean that
is the peptides that we talked about to give the firmness back to the skin. So peptides communicate to your cells as if it was collagen broken down. So when in your cell, your collagen breaks down on a daily basis, it's cut by little enzymes, and these results are peptides. And these peptides communicate to cells saying, look, we've been broken down, so you need to produce more. So we kind of mimic this by adding these peptides to the day cream. So yeah, and then the last one that we said was Perfects, which is making, like, definitely mature skin, you might have a bit of hyperpigmentation or sunspots already. So we use blackcurrant seed oil and a rosemary extract to start working on that and even out the complexion.
Some lovely, lovely comments coming here, which I'll read actually, because I know that when we repost as a saved live, that the comments don't actually appear. Lainey's just said, I took it on holiday with me and I loved it. It's great because it has the SPF 30. A couple have said that they're on their second tube already, because about a month ago I talked with Grace when she launched it, maybe a bit longer than that actually. It's perfect by the pool and a daily SPF. Astra Sangaris says, since I bought it, I haven't gone a day without it. Love it. Amazing. So yeah, questions, is it going to be okay on holiday? Can I use it by the pool? I think the answer for that is yes. Susie Campbell says, I'm on my second tube of Hydra Fusion. I love, in capitals, this product. Wouldn't be without it now. Thanks, Studio 10. I mean, I think that you are obviously ticking a lot of boxes. For those who missed the beginning of our chat, I know that we've had some late arrivals here. Do you want to talk a little bit, backtrack up on the genetics of skin? Because you are a geneticist, you're a molecular biologist. And that is very different from the people that I used to work with on formulating, who, you know, were great formulators, but they were mixing ingredients in a test tube in a lab, you know, rubbing on the skin. Does it feel nice? Does it look nice? You're actually drilling into the genetics and the biotechnology of the skin. This is kind of like bioengineering, you know, 2.0, isn't it, when it comes to skincare?
Basically, my philosophy is we start to look at individual skin much deeper into understanding why every skin behaves differently. And I believe that the skin can do a lot itself. Just if you cut yourself, it heals, right? So it's a magnificent organ that is able to nourish and protect, and to a certain extent can do a lot itself. And I think the skincare industry has always attempted to take over certain roles of the skin, make the skin a bit lazy or damage it in order to build it up again. So that's not my philosophy. What I want to do is understand the skin, look at the genetics and see, okay, what works well and what doesn't work well because of genetic mutations. And where it doesn't work well, we help the skin and we add exactly those ingredients that your skin needs. And where it does work well, of course, because you age, you just need to stimulate your skin of trying to produce as much as it can, but you don't need to take over that role. And that's a whole different approach to skincare, where often it has been too aggressively or too much pushed by, in my opinion, marketing hypes or opportunities.
And just
so
the latest trend for the latest ingredient, you know, this is the new thing.
Voilà.
Product.
And sometimes they're very good ingredients which we nicely incorporate, but the closer it is to what the skin normally does itself, I believe that we should start there, and then you can go add other stuff, of course, but that's the starting point.
That makes sense.
Everything should be evidence-based. It should be safe and proven to work, of course.
Yeah, always. So by stimulating the skin with these little peptides and these amino acids and, you know, all these different things that we've talked about in the right way, the different molecular weights, for example, are what we're doing not only supplying those to the skin, but actually communicating with the genetics of our own skin so that it then starts to respond to that and it starts to take over or be encouraged to do that role itself?
Certain elements do, certain don't. Like, for example, peptides, they're known to communicate very well. So there are little elements on the cells. They're called ligands or receptors, and they kind of they feel the signal of peptides being there. So they actually stimulate a cascade of what will go on. But for example, hyaluronic acid just does the job. It kind of penetrates into the skin, it sits into these layers, it captures the moisture, but it will not communicate.
Right.
It really depends on
depends.
Yeah.
I'm just going to pop a little bit on my hand just for those who missed it, because it is super light. I mean, the texture is absolutely unbelievable. When you think of all the different things that it's got in it, one application there, if you can see, I'll turn my hand around, and it is so sheer. And is that enough? It's literally just a sheer covering on the skin. I'd use this on clean skin in the morning, pop some makeup over the top if I wanted to, or not, actually just leave it like that because it's a lovely finish. Is that really going to be enough? I mean, it's almost too hard to believe, really.
Well, it depends if you want to really use it as an SPF.
Yeah.
I think there's still a long way to go. We need to reapply the products, right?
If you're out sunbathing in strong sun.
Exactly. So if you apply it as a daily moisturizer in the morning and you sit in the sun at 4 p.m. in the afternoon, you're not protected anymore. It does the job as a daily moisturizer, but the SPF function, you cannot guarantee it is an SPF 30 at that moment. So actually you should reapply. And the good thing about this is, to me, that's why I love it, is it blends in. Even if you wear makeup, often that is a reason for women not to reapply their sunscreen. But if you do this, it blends in and it doesn't mess up your makeup, actually.
Nice. So you would use this instead of your morning moisturizer?
Absolutely.
Love that. And your sunscreen. I mean, that is ultimately going to save quite a lot of cash, isn't it? And time, and give you something better. I mean, it's like a triple win. What about in the evening? What do you think about things like retinol? I know a lot of people will be using, you know, myself included, retinol at night.
Absolutely. It's good to be using in the evening because at night your skin regenerates. So everything you apply at night to stimulate that regeneration process is good, which is retinol, certain peptides as well. You can do that also in the morning, but at night as well, because at night your skin is a bit more permeable. So you should take advantage of that by putting in ingredients that might be a little bit bigger and really work on recovering and regeneration.
And is that because of the circadian rhythm and kind of what's happening in the body, that our skin, I didn't know that it could actually absorb more things in the nighttime?
Yeah, but it goes two ways, because you also dehydrate a little bit more at night. So if your skin is more prone to accept things, there's also more transepidermal water loss possible, of course. So that is something you should then keep in mind. Work with good moisturizer at night. One that is not too thick, that at least the peptides or the actives that you want to put in can migrate into the skin. That's important.
Right. Yeah, you don't want to be too occlusive. You need to have that breathability, I guess. And one last question. I mean, I'm having to limit myself here because honestly, I could talk to you for hours. What about taking things internally? There was a question I saw about whether we should take astaxanthin as well, whether that was safe to take while we've got, you know, the astaxanthin on our skin. Obviously, a lot of people will be taking collagen, hyaluronic acid, you know, vitamin C, some of the ingredients that you're using, we can actually take internally. Do you think that's a good idea, or is there a danger in that?
No, I absolutely believe that you should nourish your skin. You can do that topically, but also from within. So certain nutrients, if you supply them through the bloodstream to your skin, you work from above and from below. That will have a great effect. Like we with Nomij, we just launched our collagen peptide drink, and it's because I really believe we didn't do that for 5 years. It was really a focus on creams, but not only a lot of people were asking about this, also because I started to see the results myself. So if you have a high risk on collagen breakdown, for example, it's much better to take this as an extra supplement as well.
And of course, we lose it, particularly as women. We lose so much of it. It's quite frightening, staggering, how much we lose.
1% per year as from 25.
Okay, let's just repeat that. We lose 1% of our collagen per year from the age of 25. I have lost a lot of collagen, but I do take it. So,
not necessarily. It depends what your lifestyle is.
Yeah.
what your genetic risks are. So it depends. It depends. You can
I know my skin is certainly
biohack a
better.
little bit. You can biohack a little bit if you
I definitely
treat your skin.
biohack. Yeah.
Yeah.
Big time. And why not? You know, I mean, frankly, if we're losing it, what we're doing is we're just putting stuff back. You know, we're not actually changing. I don't particularly want to look, you know, really, really super young, and that would be a bit weird. I just kind of don't want to look much older. So I'm all about kind of staying still and keeping the moment and just being healthy, sorting out any issues, not having ill health either in my body or unhealthy skin, you know, issues with inflammation, rosacea, eczema, you know, all of those things that I'm prone to. So if I can use biohacks then to keep me well, then for sure. Well, this is the ultimate.
We cannot fight it. We cannot fight it. Nobody can.
No, and we should embrace it.
We should embrace it and age with grace. Like Ray says it so beautifully, but it's true. I mean, very healthy skin gives it a younger looking appearance, and make sure that you have a strong barrier and try to work on the dermis, on the lower layers for firmness. And I think, protect. It's very important. So the 5-in-1 basically has it all.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining. I'm just going to leave you with one last comment here from Nikki, who says, we need the Hydra Fusion in body size.
I saw that.
So that's the request. I'm with you on that one. I love it. Top to toe. Barbara, fascinating chat. Thank you so much for joining us all the way from Berlin, and wish you huge success with this. It's really lovely to hear the backstory and to understand a bit more about it. So thank you.
Thank you. It's lovely talking to you and meeting you.
Real
thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you. You have to click the little white square because if I do it, I cut everybody off. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So fascinating. So if you missed the very beginning, we will save this. So do please make sure that you do check and catch up with the beginning chat with Dr. Barbara. As I say, she is just extraordinary. She specializes in genetics, medical biotechnology, medical molecular biotechnology, and dermatology. So, I mean, what an amazing girl. And just if you didn't see me put it on, this is what we were talking about. It's called Hydra Fusion 5-in-1. Just popped a tiny dot there on my hand. I've been using it, absolutely love it. And I just think it's so great when you love something and then you understand the science behind it. So you can really get behind it and kind of understand how it works and what it's doing and why actually working in the long term. And great, 20% off with Liz Lux. Thank you very much, Grace, everybody at Studio 10. And what a saving, because if it's replacing your serum, your moisturizer, your sun cream, your primer, my gosh, it's doing a lot, isn't it? Anyway, try it, see if you love it, let me know. I would love to know too. Before I go, a couple of other things that I really love. We've got some great new launches, actually. It's really nice and to talk to the founders and to hear about it. I hope you caught my chat earlier last week with Michael Van Clark. He came to my studios and I had a blow dry from him. He dried my hair and he tonged it in the studio live on an Instagram live. A little bit scary doing that live because you never quite know how it's going to turn out, but it was really, really good. And he was launching this, which is called Eureka, another amazing product that does lots and lots of things in one go. Don't we love a multitasker? So this, I'm going to have to read the list because it does a lot of things in this little bottle. It's heat protecting, frizz deferring, super hydrating, bond repairing, faster drying, shine enhancing with body and swing. Eureka. So it's one balm, again, very light. I'll just pop some on my hand here. You can just see how light that is. It defrizzes without using silicone. It speeds up blow dry time. It protects the hair from sun damage. It gives you body and shine. I mean, it just does so many things. Absolutely love it. So since he introduced it to me last, I think it was Thursday's live, I have been using this. Totally addicted. So, I mean, I think they're a great pair, actually. I mean, give them a try. Again, we do have Liz Loves 15% off, and that's vanclark.com, Van Clark with an E at the end. And just to say that for those of you who might be wanting to top up your probiotic goodness, don't forget Mighty Brew. This is the Earle Wellbeing organic kombucha, now available on Ocado. But if you want to get it with a discount, go to Mighty Brew. Their website is mightybrew.com and you get 10% off. You actually get 10% off all their kombuchas. They have brilliant flavors. I was drinking, they have a basic elderflower kombucha, which is so good because it's low sugar, unlike elderflower cordial, which, you know, you might get if you don't want to drink alcohol, or you're driving, or you just want something a bit more refreshing. Elderflower cordial is just, you know, sugar and water basically, and some elderflower flavoring. This, or the Liz Earle Wellbeing ones, are all low sugar, obviously no alcohol, and they are probiotics. So they are actually fortifying the gut, giving the gut the beneficial bacteria that we need. So you're enhancing your microbiome. It's like kind of having a health drink, only it's a really smart one. You can even put it in a champagne glass or a wine glass and really enjoy it, and not feel that you're missing out actually on having any alcohol. I absolutely love it. I love Mighty Brew. I love them so much that I actually started working with them a couple of years ago to produce the Liz Earle Wellbeing versions of that. So if you would like that, head to mightybrew.com. Just before I go, I hope you're listening to my podcasts. Last week, we had an amazing podcast with an Australian professor called Professor Jayashri Kulkarni, and that was talking about how hormones affect our brain, especially as we age. There's been a lot of chat, hasn't there, in the press, particularly about HRT and Alzheimer's. Well, her MRI brain studies and the work that she's been doing in Australia, peer-reviewed, published papers showing the protective elements of replacing hormones when it comes to helping to prevent cognitive decline, dementia, and even potentially Alzheimer's. She is absolutely fascinating. She is a legend. If you have not listened to that podcast, please go and listen to it, particularly if you're a midlife woman, or if you know a midlife woman, do share it, because it's cutting edge stuff and it's really, really important to know this stuff. This week, I have got another legend in the world of well-being, and that's Dr. Jason Fung. Now, you may have heard of him because he has been called the godfather of fasting. He's the guy in America. He's a kidney doctor. That's how he started out. And he kind of invented intermittent fasting. Absolute genius guy. He's written so many books. The Obesity Fix was one of his, and he is just amazing. We were talking particularly about type 2 diabetes and what we can do to prevent it, control it, reverse it. Super fascinating. Anyway, pop a note in your diary. That is this week's episode of the Liz Earle Wellbeing Show podcast. You'll find it on the website. You'll find it on all the usual platforms, Acast, Spotify, Apple, all of those. They all have the Liz Earle Wellbeing Show podcast. Literally just go there, type in Liz Earle, and it will pop up. Anyway, I hope that you enjoy. I hope that you've enjoyed last week's one. Don't forget you can hop on and sign up for the newsletter. That also comes out on a Friday from Liz Earle Wellbeing. That's completely free, packed with lots of good things. I will be back with you same time, same place on Thursday. We are going to have another Instagram live, and it's going to be a good one. So I hope that you will join me then. I can probably tell you, if I just look down on my list, who I'm going to be with. Oh, excellent. I am really thrilled to tell you that on Thursday, I'm going to be back with my friends from Bristol Fungarium. Yeah, so you know what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about mushrooms, and we're going to focus on shiitake mushroom for weight loss and skin health. Fascinating. Can't wait for that. That's going to be my live on Thursday. I hope you'll join me. Until then, have a brilliant rest of your day.